Hello, so this is going to be another video for Polymathematical. This one is going to be slightly different from a few of the others. In the last ones I've been talking about politics, the recent local elections, and another video as well on grime and who to watch. If you want to go watch those videos, that'd be great for me. And you will learn a bit more about grime if you're not too clear on that, and you'll learn a bit more about local elections as well and what's happened in them as I've given the results as well. Now in this video I'm going to be discussing a different way of doing taxation. Now this sounds like it's boring and for some people it might be, but why it will be interesting is because it is putting you more in power. It gives you more control over your money. It lets you choose what you're going to do with your money. So rather than you having your money taken from you by the government, you are seeing it more as an investment into your local area or whatever you would want the government to invest your money through, rather than you give your money to government and you have no choice in what it's doing. So it can go towards the Prime Minister's salary, and people may not want that to even happen. It can go to defence, and people may be pacifists. They've got no choice if that happens. And as well as that, right-wing people, it can go to scroungers, and I know you hate them. And you can decrease that as well. You can choose where it's going to. Basically, you can serve your own self-interest with this form of taxation that I'm going to be describing. So what I'm calling this concept is democratic taxation. I'm going to keep on coming back to this concept in a few more videos and try and dig a bit more in depth into how it would work and why it should be a policy that should be discussed. I haven't really had many outside influences on this. It's just an idea that I've come up with myself. There may already be different people who've already come up with concepts that are similar as well. And I've just been speaking to my dad, and I have just adapted the thing. Well, not adapted it. He's just helped me put in ways that it would actually be feasible. But anyway, I'm going to get into the explanation of how this all would work and how democratic taxation should work. So it would basically be, you could apportion your taxation to different groups of things. So for example, if you want your money to go to healthcare, say you spend £10,000 on taxation. This isn't like a realistic summary, this is just like so it's easy for everybody to understand. So you're spending £10,000 on your taxation per year. I want you to, instead of seeing that as £10,000 out of your pocket, I want you to see that as a £10,000 investment that you're making into the government. Right now, you have no choice in how this investment is being spent, but through democratic taxation, you would. So you could apportion 20% of this 10 grand onto health, so the NHS, stuff like that. You could apportion another 20% onto education and stuff like that. And now, some people might be saying, oh, but the government already do this. Yes, but you can choose. It doesn't have to be complicated. You could change this every year or so. You could do it once a year and change your mind. It doesn't have to be a time-consuming thing. You could get deeply specific with it. So you could put this amount of money into this local area. You could get geographical with it. So rather than your money going down south and being put in a pot for southern counties and stuff like that, with council tax and stuff like that, that is all locally spent anyway. But it's nice to know exactly where your money is going, because I feel like that's what a lot of people have problems with tax about. They don't see it as an investment in their local area. They see it as, this is money out of my fucking pocket. But with this, it can be money back into your pocket. It can be money back into your local community. And it can be money into things that you actually care about, rather than you feeling robbed of this money. So you could apportion it to different things, as I was saying before. So this could be health, education, it could be military. Basically what I'm saying is, you choose. You, not the government, you. This is what is called direct democracy. Because, yeah, you should be able to. It's your money. And anybody who disagrees with that, I beg them to point something out. I beg them to, because this is democratically choosing how you spend. It's not even democratically, it's individually choosing how you spend your money. You can apportion it directly to a specific project. You can direct it to a specific organisation in the government, like the NHS or the military. And yeah, I just think it's something that should be talked about a lot more, and it would give people real power over the government rather than voting every 5 years. It gives people real-time power. And it sort of goes by the government. They're not needed eventually in that scenario. There's other things that they would be needed for, like lawmaking and stuff like that. But in a general way, we actually bypass the government this way, and it actually leads us to being a more a more modern democracy, really, where people actually have individual power. And one of the ways that this would actually be done is you could use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, or the government could actually get their own version of a crypto running. The reason that I'm suggesting a cryptocurrency is that these cryptocurrencies actually allow you to completely track where this money is going. So say you've got the £10,000 paid in tax. This then gets translated into 10,000 tax credit cryptocurrency points. So it's just 10,000 tax points it gets converted into. Then this gets spent as a currency by the government on the individual projects. You can then track each individual point of a pound, every single value that you have given to the government, and track it to which project it is going into, and you can redirect it. This would require a database where the government allows people to log into their own accounts and redirect the money to the individual things. And this wouldn't really be subject that much to hacking, because I imagine that the spending, well, I mean, they can just change it. They don't necessarily have to follow what the hackers have pushed the system towards, if it were to ever be hacked or something like that. I'm not really too clear on what would happen in those sort of situations. My father is, and I might be bringing him on to develop this concept a bit further. He doesn't actually know that I'm doing these videos right now, but yeah, maybe bringing him on to discuss Bitcoin and other cryptos and stuff like that, and develop this concept a bit further. Okay, what else? Okay, I just want to give a quick breakdown of how taxes are actually spent right now. This is a 2014 report. I think it was by an organisation called the IFOS. I'm not really too sure which organisation it was, but I'm aware that it was a 2014 taxation breakdown. So this is a bit outdated right now, but it gives you sort of an idea of how taxes are currently being spent, and a breakdown of where this money is going right now, where your money is going right now. So yeah, I'm just going to run through that. So at the time of this, I've looked through a few different reports on tax spending. I think that the spending right now or last year was at £686 billion. That's the public spending. So this is how much the government actually spends in that given year. So that's 2017 to 2018 September. So September 2017 to 2018. So they spent £686 billion. That's a huge amount, but that's besides the point. That's neither here nor there. And I want to give a breakdown of how that is spent. So the largest amount of money has gone to welfare. Now, before right wingers jump on this, This is broken down into multiple different ways of services. But again, with democratic taxation, you can choose exactly where it's going to. So you don't even have to fund those scroungers that you say that you don't like. But I'm not even going to explain why that's a bit of why it's something that I kind of disagree with a little bit. I definitely do. It's a complicated argument with the whole workers' benefits thing. I think it's a lot of scapegoating by Conservatives. But anyway, that's not something I want to discuss right now. We want to talk about democratic taxation. So the way that this welfare is broken down, it is broken down as social services, such as caring for children who are in the system, stuff like that. The services for children. Then as well as that, you've also got caring for older people, so people who might be at the end of their lifespan and money going into that. I'm not sure whether that covers some payments from the government to private services, or if it's just purely at facilities run by the government. I imagine it's the latter. And as well as that, it covers benefits for older people as well. This will probably include travel passes. It also includes winter fuel allowances and something called state pension credits. No, not state pension credits. Pension credits, I think it is. And I'm not sure what exactly that is. I think that's literally just a top up on their pension, which I guess is a positive thing. And as well as that, the next one down from that is health. This would cover the NHS service, so all payments for the doctors, nurses, and people working in that sort of service. That is £145.8 billion. And I was reading a story before, or rather I noticed the headline for it really, that said that people are willing to increase taxes to increase the funding of the NHS. And with this system as well, democratic taxation, there could also be minimum amounts for individual services. So even if people didn't, even if people wanted to direct all their money a specific way, a more sensible way may be that a minimum amount has to go to certain things, and then the rest of it is up for debate, because there might just be some things that need to stay the way they are. But that would be for further debate, I'd say, as the concept develops. And maybe something that would be part of that debate. And the next thing down from that, the next biggest expenditure of the government is state pensions. This is going to everybody over the age of, I think it's 69 now, and as well as that, the state pensions for workers from government services such as the NHS, the police service and stuff like that. And yeah, I just want to remind people as well that taxation is not a bad thing. The way that it's being carried out right now is a bad way, and it makes people feel like they are being ripped off, especially when they don't see the value of where their money is going. A lot of people don't feel a trust in their government, so they feel like their money is just being taken by something they don't even value. And even if there's a government in power that you disagree with, you could then apportion your money. There's nothing changing in your life then. You still apportion your money to where you want it to go. But there might be a party in power that's pushing for other stuff as well. But you still get to choose what's happening. The next biggest expenditure after state pensions is education. This is £87.8 billion. Education is obviously quite straightforward. That's secondary, primary and tertiary education funding as well. Tertiary being university and stuff like that. As well as that, the next one down from that is national debt interest. So this is literally just interest that we pay on our national debt. As far as I understand it, I was a bit more up to date on economics stuff. That sounds so technical. Stuff a few years ago when I was studying it, but right now it's sort of just off my own back, so I would need to look into these more. But from my understanding, that's literally just the amount that we pay from borrowing from other countries such as China and the USA and those who hold our bonds. Again, I will need to look into this a bit more. And then the next one down from that is defence, and that was down at £38.7 billion. And anybody who's worried about Jeremy Corbyn decreases his spending for the military, that is, I don't know if that's a possibility or not. It's not really something he discusses too much. He's a pacifist for definite, and he probably would want us to get out of less wars, but I don't think he's anti-military. I think he's anti-war-like military. Like, we have a ministry for defence, but it's a ministry for offence. That's very Orwellian. So what that means is something that's for defence is actually attacking people, when this should be for defending our country instead of going out there and attacking other countries. Now, other people may say, oh, we're attacking these other countries to defend ourselves. That's quite a complicated argument, and I can see the basis for it, but it's a bit of mental gymnastics for me. It seems like a bit of a excuse, really. But anyway, the next one down from that is public order and safety. This is 31.6 billion. This would be on policing, PCSOs, and other stuff like that. And as I was speaking about in the last video, that was one on policing that I released this morning, but I actually filmed it yesterday. I just didn't release it because it was quite late. That is as well a 20,000 person cut on. 1 second. Yeah, so these numbers are actually from 2017 to 2018. Sorry. So yeah, this is after a 20,000 person cut on the front lines for police. So that might be why it's being put at less than even our national debt interest. I honestly think that police spending should be higher and there should be a lot more bobbies on the beat. I feel like a lot of people would agree with this as well. And as I was saying before, I feel like the police should be a bit more involved in community as well. And then after that, you've got a few others. You've got transport. I believe that there should also be public transport services, and it should be a lot cheaper, if not even, this might be a bit controversial, if not even free for those services, to encourage people to stop using cars and to just be more efficient with the way that we move around in our country. And I'll get into a bit more on why I think this in some other videos as well. And then down from that, we've got government administration just below that at £15.2 billion. And then I kind of think this is a bit disgusting, really. Underneath that, we have environment protection at just £11.4 billion. So currently we are spending £15.2 billion on the government, and then just £11.4 billion, sorry, on our environment protection. So we're actually spending less on protecting our environment than on the government. And that's not some like hippie, wishy-washy shit. This is, we want to prevent there being forest fires, so your houses don't get burnt down, so that farms and livestock don't get killed as well. And so there's actually areas that you can go to that are actually quite nice rather than other places. And this also covers stuff such as town clear-ups, stuff like that, bins and stuff like that, and just other protection and keeping areas nice and having trees in local areas as well, and protecting the environment of the country. As well as that, just below this, I think this is quite hilarious, really. The absolute lowest portion of our spending, this comes under even foreign aid as well. The absolute lowest thing that we spend our money on is EU contributions. So the amount of money we put towards the EU budget. So that is £5.4 billion. That isn't a small amount, I'll admit that. But we spend a lot more money on a lot more shit, and we get a lot of fucking benefit out of the EU. The trade we get out of the EU is monumental. It is our biggest trading partner, and there are so many benefits of that. I'm going to get a lot of flack off the Brexiters, but I'm also going to explain, as I've said before, why I was on the side of Brexit as well, and why I'm now against the side of Brexit, and why I believe. No, I'm just going to go a bit further into the debate with Brexit and the second referendum and everything like that in a future video. But for now, I believe I have covered everything. And I do hope that people do start to discuss and share this video, as this is empowering you at taking control of your money. It is your money at the end of the day. You are paying these taxes, so if you're a working person, then you are paying taxes for this, and you will get to control how you actually spend your money if this was ever implemented. Right now you have no control over how you spend your money. Anyway, this has been quite a long video, so I'm going to cut it off there. Goodbye, people.